Dear brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this sacrifice of Mass. This week, I chose a theme, seek God's wisdom at all times, especially during the time of conflict. Seeking God's guidance is very essential, for it helps us to navigate the challenges that we go through. And it also helps us to make informed decisions in life. When we look at our first reading today, we are reminded that life is seasons, indeed keep on changing. And what do we need in life if life keeps on changing, if seasons keep on changing? We need adaptability. We need to adapt to the situations at hand. We have heard that there is time to be born and time to die. So both should be welcomed in our lives. They are part and parcel of life. Sometimes we welcome those who have been born, but when it comes to losing someone, we behave as if we were not prepared for it. So let us prepare for both, that once we are born, we are suitable candidates to death. And there is time for weeping and laughing, that both are part of our life. There is time for war and peace. There is time to speak and time to be silent, to mention but a few. But in a human point of view, we tend to be one-sided, and that is the problem. When the other comes, we don't welcome it, we don't adapt to it. Ebintu bikyuka mu bulamu bwaffe, Omukama kyatulaze mu ssomo erisooka, nti era tulina okwetereeza okusinziira ku ekyo ekiriwo, tusobole okulaba nga tugenda mu maaso. Don't be stuck in the past. We are able to develop resilience if we adapt to the situation at hand. Tugumira embeera eriwo singa tusobola okulaba nti twetereeza okusinziira ku ekyo ekiriwo. We can cope up with change in case we adapt to the situation at hand. Tugumira enkyukakyuka. According to our gospel text, Jesus has reminded us to go for prayer. We have heard him praying alone, and the disciples were with him. So this shows how crucial prayer is in times of strife, in times of conflict. He was also praying with his disciples, so he teaches us to pray as well. So that is the wisdom of God. We come to prayer because we want to acquire the wisdom of God. And secondly, from the gospel text, Jesus has reminded us that suffering is part of life. We need to take up our crosses and follow him. It is part of life. That's why he has said the Son of Man must suffer. But as he was concluding, he gave us hope that despite the suffering, that on the third day, he will be raised. It is part of life to suffer. But he has given us hope. So that's where our hope is, that nothing is permanent. That is the wisdom of God which we need in our life. According to the psalmist, David has invited us to depend on God always, who is our rock. Trust in him, trust in his strength and provision. He is our deliverer. He has regarded him as our shield. So let us always trust in God. He will be there for us in moments of strife, in moments of conflict. Today we celebrate the memory of Saint Vincent de Paul. He was a man in search of God's wisdom. He sought for God's wisdom above human wisdom. He lived a simple life, prioritizing serving the poor and the marginalized over personal gain. He once said, I quote, this is what he said: "I would have been hard and repulsive. I would have been rough, but I am now a tender person. I'm an affectionate man, very sensitive to the needs of others. But this is all because of God's grace. It is all because of God's wisdom." May we allow to be guided by God's truth and wisdom always. Amen.